What's up everyone, this is NyhlekDreams, and today we have a simple guide or explanation of the new hero class perks that came with the hero rework system. I've seen a lot of people getting confused with how these work, so I just wanted to help clarify. But before we get started, I have a couple of things I wanted to say. For the video yesterday, I didn't have any gameplay of Rabbit Raider Jonesy and the snipers in action, and I just wanted to apologize. I'm still working on figuring out how to implement certain things in editing, and I didn't know the best place to add any gameplay footage while also explaining and giving a visual for how the new hero slots work. So I'm going to be trying to do a better job on that in the future. But on that note, I just want to give a huge thank you for all of the support. At the time of recording this, we're just about to break 100 subs, and the amount of support from all of you has just been so encouraging to me. So thank you to each and every one of you. You guys have been awesome. Now we're just going to jump right into these hero class perks, and the best way for me to show you that is to pull it up so you can see that each hero class is going to have its own set of passive perks. And I want to point out that that's going to be separate from your abilities. If you come over here to perks under class perks, this is where you're going to see that each class has its own set of static perks. That means that your soldiers, your constructors, your outlanders, and your ninjas, they're all going to have perks unique to that class. So your soldier class perks are going to be suppressive fire and stay frosty. Constructors are going to have kinetic overload and base. Outlanders are going to have anti-material charge, in the zone, and loot llama. And ninjas are going to have mantis sleep and shadow stance. But we're going to go ahead and start with soldier, and for the sake of testing this as easy as possible, we're going to use a commander that doesn't give any damage bonuses, as well as unslotting all of our support so that they don't interfere with damage bonuses as well. So let's go ahead and hop into some gameplay and we'll see how soldier class perks work. Now, since suppressive fire works with any ranged weapon, we're going to be using a Whisper 45 with no affliction to be able to see the damage numbers better, and no added crit rating so that we can avoid critting as much as possible. And since I can't put it up in the game, suppressive fire has 3% damage per stack, and it stacks up to 5 times. Now, one thing that I was looking at with suppressive fire is when triggering it, I wanted to see if there was an indicator like debilitating shots used to have, but I wasn't able to find one on any of the husks that I was shooting. But we can go ahead and shoot up these huskies real quick, and we should be able to see that scaling damage number as we stack up these suppressive fire stacks. So we'll go ahead and just start shooting them. That's a crit. 13.3. That's another crit. We'll go ahead and shoot this one. 11.5. 11.9. 22. That's a crit. 12.6. And then another crit. So as we can see on those non-crits that it was getting a stacking bonus, and it's, you know, great to see that it's at least functioning properly in the game and it wasn't messed up with the transition from debilitating shots to suppressive fire. But we're going to go ahead and move on over to Stay Frosty and check out how that one worked. So I personally am actually a fan with the addition of Stay Frosty into the game, and the way that it works is as long as you get 3 eliminations on husks, it's going to increase your ranged weapon damage by 10% and your weapon stability by 35% for 7 seconds, and any additional husk eliminations is going to refresh that duration. But we can go ahead and go over here and shoot up these husks and kill them, and we should be able to see the indicator because they actually added a crosshair indicator for Stay Frosty, which I think is really great to be able to identify when your buff is active and when it's going to fall off. So we'll just shoot up 3 little basic husks here, and we'll get our activation. And there you can see at the end of the barrel, we got somewhat of a crosshair or an indicator, a little icon to let us know that our buff is active. And it just fell off, and we can shoot another 3 to be able to activate it again, and it comes back up. Now, if I shoot another one, we can see that the duration is actually staying longer, and that's how it works. It's going to be refreshing that duration anytime that you get a husk kill. So that's actually a really cool bonus to the game, and I completely agree with the addition of it into the game. But we're going to go ahead and move out and head over to the Constructor class perks as well. Now with the Constructor class perks here, we've got Kinetic Overload, which is melee knockbacks and staggers trigger Kinetic Overload, dealing 25 base energy damage to nearby enemies. And one thing to note about this is it no longer has to be triggered with a blunt style weapon. It can be done with any melee knockback and stagger. So that's honestly a great boon to be able to play a Constructor the way that you want now, not having to go with a blunt weapon or a hammer of sorts. You can just kind of use any melee weapon you want and it'll trigger this as long as you're getting a knockback or a stagger. And after melee critical hits, it's going to increase melee impact damage by 10% for 5 seconds, and it stacks up to 5 times. So basically, the more that you crit, the more impact damage you're going to be doing. And your base class perk was actually moved over from Constructor abilities and was just added to be able to use as a passive without taking up an ability slot. And the way that you're going to activate this is just scroll through your trap wheel and you'll find your base icon and just hit it, and you'll be able to place your base down with all of the added greatness of not having to take up that ability slot anymore. You can have more of a diverse gameplay with freeing up a slot and not actually having to have base as an ability. And with that, we can go ahead and move on over to the Outlander class perks, and we'll be starting with anti-material charge. Now, this is one that I know was confusing a lot of people. They didn't really know how to activate this, but it's basically just working the same way. Instead of it being ability, you now have to pull out your pickaxe while equipped. You use your heavy attack. So really, this is just, one of the confusions that was going on is people thought it was still remaining to be an ability, but it is now a class perk, and they didn't really know how to activate it by not reading down here. And now it doesn't have a cooldown, it just works off of your available energy. In the zone is your next passive class perk. It's going to be after 5 consecutive hits with a pickaxe, you get a damage boost to the pickaxe and movement speed. And one thing that they did is they implemented the passive keen eyes perk into this. So it should be functioning as intended, that you'll be able to see your loot through the wall, and all of that is just condensed down into one passive perk now, which I think is great. And as always, you got your simple loot llama that you can go find a llama fragment and get some materials from. And we'll go ahead and finish up with the ninja class perks, which are Mantis Sleep and Shadow Stance. And the way that those are working now is with Mantis Sleep, actually just overall, ninjas are not taking any more fall damage. It's not even just with Mantis Sleep. So that's a great buff to them, not worrying about how much fall damage you're going to have to take. And with Shadow Stance, after eliminating one enemy with a melee weapon, you're going to enter Shadow Stance for 4 seconds, and it increases your armor by 60 and movement speed by 15%. Now, that works with any melee weapon, and prior to the event, it had to be activated with edge damage, so this is another buff for this class as well. So Ninja's got a lot of love with this, and I think it's a great start for them really shining in this hero rework. I think that we're going to see a lot more Ninja gameplay, and I'm excited to be testing out some builds with that. But that just about wraps it up for this video. I know that this was really confusing some people, so I hope that this clarified on some of those points that didn't seem too easy to pick up on. And again, I want to show my gratitude and thank you guys so much for watching and all of the support that you've been giving me. I can't wait to be putting out more of this hero rework, and I'm really interested to see what you guys are having fun with. So let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.